Welcome back to Barbecue with Greg. Let's put that meat on the grill. Let's get started. Well, hello there, barbecue friends. We got a cool, crisp, early morning here. I'm going to fire up the Kamado Grill here. We're going to make a real simple way to do a pork shoulder on here to make some pulled pork. What I like to do, throw some rubber gloves on when I'm handling the charcoal. I'm going to start off removing my grill grates, give my ash basket a quick sift. I'm going to clean out some of the ash from the bottom from the previous cook, and we're going to set it up for our new cook. So I got everything cleaned out here. I'm going to use some hardwood lump charcoal. Now I want to add a bit of smoke wood to this. So I got my smoke wood here. It's hickory. Now, in one of the comments on a previous video from JD Bourbon Barbecue, suggested I put the smoke wood below the charcoal. He said you just get a much cleaner smoke from it. So I'm going to listen to his advice and give it a try. I'm going to put a generous amount of charcoal in there because this is going to be a 5 or 6 hour cook. Of course, I'm going to use my instant fire cup at the bottom of this charcoal pile here to get things going. Okay, you can see I got a good amount of charcoal in there. I got my smoke wood there at the bottom. We'll just let this fire up. While this is heating up, let's go get our meat ready. All right, I'm starting off with a boneless whole pork shoulder blade roast that I got from my local Costco. Open the package here. Slip this out. There's a lot of juices in here. I'm just going to take some paper towel and dry it up here. Now, because the bone's been removed, you see you got all these floppy bits. We're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to open that right up. We're going to season everything inside of here. All right, I'm going to start off. I got some TBQ's all-purpose barbecue seasoning that I buy locally to me. Next, I got some Money Rub from the Paradise Pepper Company. I just love this stuff on pork. Like I say, we're gonna rotate this around, season everything all around. I like the bowl for this because you like catch all the seasonings that didn't quite get on there. Do the other side. There we have it, nicely seasoned. Now, like I showed you, everything kind of flops open because I removed that bone. So what I'm going to do, get some cotton string here. I tied a little loop on the one side. I'm going to slip this under the roast. I'm going to pass the other end of the string through the hoop. Like that. Then we're going to wrap this around the roast. We're going to tighten everything up. I think you see where I'm going with this. We'll tie off the end of our string where we find a spot here. Something like that. This thing's ready for the grill. See, everything's seasoned nicely. Looking good already. Now what I'm going to do is get an aluminum tray. We're going to put this so that fat cap is facing up. All right, we got our pork shoulder all seasoned and ready. Now we'll concentrate on the grill. Try to get that fire just right before we put our meat on. I'll show you what I got now. Now that fire cup is completely lit. It's almost done. Our charcoal has engaged. I could smell a bit of that wood from the bottom starting. We just need a little more heat source happening here. We need a little more of that charcoal to engage, so I'm just going to push that pile over just a little bit over top. That should be good. So Grill grates in, close the lid. I got the bottom vent wide open. I got the top vent wide open. Before we put our meat on, I don't want to expose it to any dirty smoke. So I want to condition this grill, get a nice clean burn before the meat goes on. So I'll bring you back in a little bit, show you what I'm doing. All right, it's been about 10 minutes burning with our vents wide open. I got a dome temperature of 350, so I know everything's been warmed up. So I'm going to cut this vent back to about 1. I'm going to put my bottom vent to about 2 sets of holes. I'll cut that just a little less than 1, just based from experience. Now essentially we kind of snuffed out that fire a little bit. So I'm going to give it another 5 or 10 minutes before we put our meat on. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, it's been another 10 minutes since we adjusted our vents. I got a dome temperature just under 250 degrees. So we know the vents did its job to kind of calm that fire down a little bit. Now we're going to open that up. You can smell that hickory wood working. I'm going to put the roast here over the vent side of the grill. Now I just have a wired thermometer here. I'm going to try to probe the center of that roast. It's a Thermo Pro wired thermometer. Now I got a lot of moving parts kind of to my day today. I figured the Kamado grill would be the perfect grill for this cook. I know I'm going to be 5-6 hours or so on this. The wired thermometer, I could just walk by periodically, see where I'm at with temperature without opening the lid. I got the roast inside of a tray. So if I'm at the point where the roast starts losing some of those liquids, which I don't want to lose too much of, and I'm busy doing other things, at least it's in the tray. So I'm just going to let this smoke away, let it do its thing. The one good thing about the Kamado, doesn't take electricity or anything. It just quietly works and does its thing. When I come back, check on this. If I do anything, I'll let you know what I'm doing. We're going to take this cook step by step. See you in a bit. All right, we're now at the 4-hour mark on this cook here. Our dome temperature is reading 300 degrees. Our interior temperature of our meat is 174 degrees. Let's open this up. I'll bring you in closer, show you what everything looks like. Oh man, this is just looking fantastic, smelling fantastic. You can see all those juices I was talking about that are getting released from the roast there. Okay, at this point, I'm just going to cover this with foil. All right, close the lid. So the first part of this cook, when it was uncovered, is when it's going to retain most of that smoke. But 4 hours in, the ability for this roast to take in any smoke's probably gone. So now we cover it with foil. That roast is just going to continue to cook under that foil. So I'm going to come back when we get an interior temperature of over 200 degrees on here, and I'll show you what I'll do then. All right, we are now at the 6-hour mark on this pulled pork. I got a dome temperature still around 300 degrees. I got an interior temperature of 203. What I want to do now, just open it up. I want to probe it to see how tender it is, see how far we are with this cook, see if it's ready to come off. All right, let's open it up. Take our foil off of here. Oh man, that smells so good. I'm going to get my probe thermometer out here. Not so much for temperature, but for tenderness. Oh man. Look at that, it's just falling in there. Okay, this is ready to come off the grill. I'll take my thermometer out here. Now what I want to do, I want to lift that out and put it on the board, try to get a nice photo of this. It looks so beautiful. There we are. Oh, success. So what I like to do, I like to pull the pulled pork out of those fats that dripped in that pan, just so I have the pulled pork by itself. So So I'm going to transfer it off our board and put it in our bowl here for shredding. I had to get a good photo of that. It's hard to get a good photo of pulled pork. Might as well get a good photo of the whole pork shoulder. Now, this really doesn't need to rest because resting just gets those juices kind of back in the meat before you cut it. But we're going to shred this. Now, most of the time I like to let this sit till it cools a little bit, only because it's easier to handle. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to shred it apart. So I'm going to cut those strings off that I tied this roast with. Now I got a pair of cotton gloves underneath my rubber gloves just to help insulate that heat to my fingers. Just from past experience, I find adding this sauce just amps up the whole flavor of this pork when it's all shredded. This is Valerie's sweet sauce. It's kind of a tangy sauce. It helps with that fat content in the meat itself. So I'll get that ready to put some in there. Now we'll just start shredding this apart here. I like to slowly shred it. And when I get a packet of fat or something, I like to pull that out of the pulled pork. Oh, this is so nice. Smelling so good here. Got some crispies kind of on the bottom. That's all flavor right there. We'll break those up. Well, we'll take these claws out of here since I'm doing it mostly by hand. Now this made up of different muscles, so you see some are a little bit firmer and some just fall right apart. It's the mixing of those different meats that give it all that flavor. I think at this point I want to add some of that sauce. And we're just going to work that through. Yeah, the cotton gloves under the gloves sure do help. All right, we need to get a proper taste test on here. I'll be right back. All right, I recently did a video with the boys from Tavern 53 where we did turkey burgers. And we kind of voted the triangle ciabatta bun here being the best bun for the burger. So I'm going to put some of that on the bun. But first, I'm going to toast it on the barbecue here. We'll toast both sides of that bun. Fairly simple cook at that. Just kind of leave it on and let it go, especially when it's in the tray like that. Seeing how efficient the Kamado grill is like that really has a good way of just maintaining that temperature, even though you have all that charcoal in there. I've done cooks up to 16 hours with that much charcoal. Very efficient barbecue. Like I said before, doesn't need electricity. Just let her go. Nice and quiet. Perfect for those low and slow cooks. All right, getting just the right toastiness on that bun. Put some pulled pork on there. Put some of those crispy bits on there. I just love that. Look at that. Pulled pork cooked on a Kamado here. Let's give it a taste. That's good. It's got a very subtle smoke flavor to it. That pork is so tender. Yeah, I didn't want to put any sauce or anything on here. Sometimes I'll put coleslaw on here just to help cut things, and then some barbecue sauce. But for the sake of the taste test, I want the genuine taste of that pork for you. I just got a bite of the crispy bits from underneath the roast. from the bottom of the pan. So good. Well, if you enjoyed this video, I appreciate you give me a thumbs up. I know I've done other videos where I made pulled pork with a pork shoulder, but I really think this method is not only the best tasting, but the easiest. And as always, you want to see more videos like this, click that subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Barbecue with Greg.
Thanks for watching Barbecue with Greg, one of those barbecue cooking shows people watch on YouTube sometimes.